The lawyer's pen was already uncapped when my granddaughter tugged my sleeve. "Grandpa," she whispered, "Aunt Rachel told the man on the phone you wouldn't remember signing anything." She was 7. She'd found my phone lying face up on the kitchen counter that morning, screen still lit from a call I never made, and pressed record because she liked the little red dot. I looked at my daughter-in-law across the conference table. She was smiling at me the way she'd smiled at me for 6 years. Warm, patient, a little proud, like I was something she'd built herself. The papers in front of me would have transferred controlling interest in Sable Ridge Vineyards, the business I spent 31 years turning from 4 acres of scrub into the second largest estate in the valley, into a trust she administered. I set the pen down. I told the room I needed a moment. Nobody argued with a 71-year-old man who says he needs a moment. I'm Walter Krieg, 71, Napa County, California. Before the vineyard, I ran heavy equipment on highway crews for 11 years, and before that I did 2 tours as an army mechanic, which taught me the one lesson that mattered most in this whole affair. You don't fix what's broken until you understand exactly how it broke. What my granddaughter had just handed me on that phone was the first real look I'd had at how broken things already were. My wife Diane died in 2015. My son Marcus married Rachel Bellamy 14 months later, and I welcomed her the way I welcomed everyone into that family, completely, without a background check on the heart. Rachel was warm. She learned the vineyard's rose by name before she learned some of my own relatives' names. She brought me soup when my knee surgery kept me off the property for 6 weeks. She called me Pop before Marcus ever suggested it. When Marcus died of a heart attack at 44 in 2021, Rachel didn't leave. She stayed, raised my granddaughter Emma alone in the guest house on the property, and became, by every visible measure, the daughter I'd lost along with my son. I trusted her with the books. I trusted her with the staff schedules. Eventually, because my hands had started shaking too much to sign clearly and my eyes weren't what they used to be, I trusted her with power of attorney over routine business matters. That's the word that mattered, routine. I didn't confront anyone that afternoon. I drove home, sat in my study, and played the recording 11 times. Rachel's voice, flat and businesslike, talking to a man I didn't recognize. Later, I'd learn his name was Curtis Aldana, an estate attorney out of Santa Rosa, who specialized in exactly the kind of paperwork that had been sitting on that conference table. "He signs whatever's in front of him now," she said. "He trusts me completely. Once the trust restructuring goes through, Emma's guardianship gives me full discretion until she's 25. That's 18 years of control, Curtis. 18 years. 18 years of a 9-figure vineyard operation, run through a 7-year-old's inheritance, administered by a woman who had learned, very patiently, exactly which of my faculties to underestimate. I didn't feel rage first. I felt something colder. I thought about Diane, and how she used to say Rachel had efficient eyes, the kind that catalog a room instead of enjoying it. I'd laughed it off in 2016. I wasn't laughing now. I told no one. Not my brother Hal, not my longtime foreman Desmond, not even Emma, though I made sure her phone stayed charged and her recording habit stayed unremarked upon. I started small. I asked my longtime bookkeeper, Priya Chandrasekaran, to walk me through just the basics of the last 3 fiscal years, framing it as an old man wanting to understand his own business again before he died. She found it within 2 weeks, $340,000 routed through a vineyard management consulting fee to a company called Bellamy Strategic Partners, which had exactly 1 employee, Rachel's maiden name on the incorporation papers. Then Rachel, believing me thoroughly harmless, made her mistake. She asked me to sign a document granting Bellamy Strategic Partners a retroactive consulting contract to formalize what we've already been doing. She slid it across the breakfast table with my coffee, expecting a man who signed whatever was in front of him. "I asked for a week to read it," she said. "Of course, take your time, Pop." I photographed every page before I gave it back. I called Hal, my brother, first, not for advice, but for his son-in-law, an attorney named Desmond Okafor, who specialized in elder financial abuse and trust litigation. I told him everything: the recording, the consulting fees, the pending trust restructuring, the attorney named Curtis Aldana. Desmond didn't flinch. "Walter, this is textbook," he said. "Financial exploitation of an elder, undue influence, and if that recording holds up, conspiracy to defraud through a minor's guardianship. We need 3 things: A competency evaluation that puts you on record as sharp as a tack. A forensic audit of every transaction Rachel's touched, and documentation that she knew you understood exactly what you were signing. We got the competency evaluation first, quietly, through my own doctor, dated and notarized. Then Priya's forensic audit expanded. $340,000 became $890,000 across 4 years, moved through 3 shell entities, 2 of them registered in Nevada. Desmond subpoenaed nothing yet. We weren't ready to let Rachel know we were looking. She kept moving normally. Dinner at 6. Emma's homework at the kitchen table. She had no idea the ground beneath her had already shifted. Desmond's plan had 3 stages. Stage 1. I told Rachel I wanted to accelerate the trust restructuring, that my health scare had frightened me, and I wanted everything settled before year's end. It was bait. A frightened old man handing her exactly what she wanted, faster than she'd planned. She took it immediately, scheduling a signing with Curtis Aldana for the following month, and in her eagerness, she made her second mistake. She emailed Aldana from her personal account, not the business one, writing, "He's moving faster than expected. Let's lock the guardianship language before he changes his mind again." Desmond had already arranged, through entirely legal means, to have Priya's forensic findings ready to file the moment that signing was scheduled. We had our second piece of evidence, written, dated, unambiguous, showing Rachel understood I might reconsider, and was racing to prevent it. There was one close call. Emma mentioned to Rachel, innocently, that Grandpa had been talking to Uncle Hal a lot lately about boring grown-up stuff. Rachel asked me about it at dinner, casual as ever. I told her Hal was helping me update my will, now that I'm getting old and morbid. She laughed and let it go. I went to bed that night with my heart still pounding. Stage 2, Desmond filed, 3 days before the scheduled signing, a request for emergency guardianship oversight on Emma's behalf, supported by the competency evaluation and the financial audit, sealed, non-public, reviewed by a judge who set a hearing date rather than the signing date Rachel expected. Stage 3. I called Curtis Aldana myself, the week before everything came apart, and asked him, as his actual client, not Rachel's proxy, for a complete file of every document he'd drafted involving my estate for the past 4 years. Under his own bar obligations, he had to produce it to me directly. He didn't know yet what he was handing over. By the time he understood, it was already in Desmond's hands. Every escape route was closing. Rachel didn't know it yet. The hearing took place in a Napa County courtroom, not a conference room. I insisted on that. Rachel arrived expecting a routine guardianship review. Desmond laid it out in 20 minutes. The audit, the shell companies, the email, the recording. Played once, in full, into a silent room. "That recording is out of context," Rachel said. Her voice had lost its warmth entirely. "There's no context," Desmond said. "That explains 18 years of discretionary control over a minor's inheritance being planned before her grandfather signed a single document." She looked at me then, and for the first time in 6 years, I watched the performance fail completely. "Pop, you don't understand how hard I've worked." "I understand exactly how hard you worked," I said. It was the only thing I said in that entire hearing. That's the problem. The judge terminated Rachel's power of attorney immediately and appointed an independent trustee for Emma's guardianship, pending full civil proceedings. The district attorney's office opened a criminal referral for financial elder abuse. $890,000 in restitution was ordered, secured against Rachel's own assets before she could move them. Bellamy Strategic Partners was dissolved by court order. Curtis Aldana surrendered his role and was referred to the state bar for failing to verify undue influence. He kept his license, but lost half his client list within a year once the filing became public record in the Valley's small legal community. Rachel moved out of the guest house within 30 days. Emma stayed with me. Priya got a raise and a title, Director of Estate Operations. She'd earned 3 times over. Hal's son-in-law Desmond became, quietly, family. 3 years on, Sable Ridge produced its best harvest since I first planted it. Emma is 10 now, keeps a little recording app on her tablet out of habit, and I've never once told her to stop. Rachel lives 2 counties over. I hear she works retail. I don't feel triumph when I think of her. I feel the particular tiredness of a man who almost handed away everything he built to someone who mistook his trust for weakness. Here's what I learned, and it's the only thing worth saying. Love makes you generous, and generosity makes you blind, and the people worth keeping close are the ones who never once needed you to be blind for them to stay. If this story meant something to you, tell me where you're watching from, and remember, some names and details here are changed, but the lesson is the one that matters.